Hi, this is McKenna Van Wyck, and I am doing my interpersonal communication fair presentation. So, my concept is John Gottman's theory of volatile, avoidant, and validating relationships. So, who are the researchers that theorize the concept in the name of the concept? That's that. And a description of this concept is essentially the definition of these three types of relationship conflict styles. So, John Gottman has spent years studying romantic relationships and finds that couples tend to fall into one of these categories. So, they can be volatile, which is intense, heated arguments, a lot of times over smaller issues. They raise their voices, compete to hold the floor, and make their cases passionately. So, conflicts for these types of couples are often seen as conflicts or contests to be won. And it actually turns out, per his research, that the volcanic arguments are just a small part of an otherwise loving and warm marriage. And the passion and relish with which they fight seems to actually fuel their positive interactions even more. And not only do they express more anger, but they laugh and are more affectionate than the average validating couple. So avoidant couples are those who typically prefer to ignore issues rather than confront them. They're not confrontational. They minimize disagreements and steer clear of sensitive topics. The partners acknowledge that they have conflicts, but when they do, they handle them quickly and dispassionately. So to kind of compare and contrast volatile to avoidant, volatile is, loud, I'm right, you're wrong, contest, who's right, who's wrong, loud, very, very confrontational. Avoidant, literally the opposite. Very much like, oh, no big deal, that bothered me, but it's no big deal, kind of shying away from the more intense, heated, argumentative side of a conflict. They actually, rather than resolve conflicts, they appeal to the basic shared philosophy of their marriage. So they reaffirm what they love and value in the marriage and accentuate the positive, and they just accept the rest. In this way, they often end an unresolved discussion still feeling good about one another. So thirdly and lastly, the validating concept, or the validating conflict style, rather. These couples openly and cooperatively manage conflicts, and when they do have differences of opinion, they talk them through in civil ways without denying their feelings but still getting their point across. And they listen carefully to each other and look for collaborative solutions to their problems rather than having a heated discussion between the two people. Gottman's perfect ratio is seen pretty clearly in these conflict styles. His perfect ratio is that as long as 5 positive interactions occur for every 1 negative interaction, the relationship will be successful. So realistically, you could have any of these conflict styles, and as long as you're maintaining that ratio, your relationship could still be successful. Concrete examples of this would be volatile relationships, a small issue like you didn't pick up your socks. A volatile couple would, you didn't pick up your socks, you need to start picking up your socks, blah, blah, blah. And then the partner's like, well, you could have just, thought about it and picked it up for me, or screw you, I don't need to pick up my socks, it's my socks, And it's kind of like a right, wrong, my way, your way, not super communicative, kindly. Avoidant couple would just pick up the sock and put it in the hamper and probably not say anything to their partner. They'd just kind of bother them, and then they'd kind of just, the internalized bothersome feeling would just kind of go away after a while. They just don't care about the sock. It's not worth it to them to confront the other person about it. And a validating couple would be like, hey, I noticed you left your sock on the floor. Do you mind picking it up? Just because if you don't pick it up, then I'm going to have to pick it up. And, I really don't like having to feel like I'm always picking up after and then their partner would be, oh yeah, no problem, sure, I'll work on making sure I'm picking up after myself. So those are some examples, and those are John Gottman's 3 conflict styles in relationships.